In the heart of Exeter, where the river Exe winds gently through a city of cobblestone streets and ancient walls, there lived a bootmaker named Cecil Brewer, Charlie to those who knew him best. Charlie was a quiet man, his hands calloused from years of stitching leather, his heart full of a peculiar passion: pigeons. Not just any pigeons, mind you, but homing pigeons, those remarkable creatures that could find their way back to a loft from hundreds of miles away. In the spring of 1940, as the shadow of World War II crept across Europe, one pigeon in Charlie's loft stood out, a small, unassuming hen with slate-gray feathers and eyes that gleamed with quiet determination. Her name was Mary. Charlie's loft, perched above his workshop on West Street, was a sanctuary of coos and fluttering wings. He'd spend evenings there, the scent of leather still clinging to his clothes, watching his birds with a father's pride. Mary was his favorite. She wasn't the flashiest, not like some of the strutting cocks with their iridescent necks, but she had a steadiness to her, a grit that Charlie recognized. "You're a tough one, aren't you, girl?" he'd murmur, offering her a handful of grain. Mary would peck delicately, her head tilting as if to say, "Just wait and see." When the war came, it wasn't just men and women who were called to serve. The National Pigeon Service, a clandestine operation, recruited pigeons to carry messages where radios couldn't, across enemy lines, over stormy seas, through skies thick with danger. Charlie, a special constable by night, didn't hesitate. He offered Mary and a few others to the cause. "Go do us proud," he whispered as he handed her over, his throat tight. It felt like sending a child into the unknown. Mary's first mission came in 1941. Dropped behind enemy lines in France, she was tasked with carrying a tiny canister of coded messages back to Exeter. The journey was perilous, over 150 miles across the English Channel, with German marksmen and trained hawks lying in wait. Charlie didn't sleep that night, pacing his workshop, his eyes drifting to the loft. He imagined her small body battling headwinds, her wings slicing through the cold. When dawn broke, he climbed the ladder to the loft, heart pounding. There she was, perched quietly, the canister still strapped to her leg. Charlie laughed, a sound of pure relief, and scooped her up. "You bloody marvel," he said, his voice cracking. But war doesn't spare the brave. On her second mission, Mary didn't return for days. Charlie's hope frayed with each passing hour. He'd stand in the loft, staring at the sky, willing her to appear. On the 10th day, a farmer found her in a field, battered and bleeding, her head and back torn open. Charlie rushed to collect her, his hands shaking as he cradled her fragile frame. "You're not done yet, Mary," he told her, though he wasn't sure he believed it. Back home, he set to work with the precision of a surgeon, stitching her wounds with thread he'd once used for boots. 22 stitches in all, each one a prayer. He fashioned a tiny leather collar to support her neck, his fingers steady despite the ache in his chest. Mary, for her part, endured it all with a quiet dignity, nibbling at the peanuts Charlie offered when she was strong enough. 2 months later, against all odds, she was flying again. Charlie watched her take to the sky for a test flight, his heart in his throat. She soared, steady and sure, as if the scars were badges, not burdens. The National Pigeon Service didn't hesitate to send her back into action. Mary's third mission was her most brutal yet. Somewhere over Pas-de-Calais, a German hawk, trained to hunt pigeons, struck. Its talons ripped into her neck and breast, leaving her savagely torn. Charlie wasn't there to see her struggle, but he could picture it. Mary, small and bloodied, dodging and weaving, her instincts screaming home. Somehow, she made it, staggering into the loft with wounds so deep Charlie wept as he cleaned them. "Why do you keep going, you stubborn thing?" he asked her, his voice thick. Mary blinked up at him, unyielding. The war ground on, and so did Mary. On another mission, she returned with the tip of one wing shot off, 3 shotgun pellets lodged in her body. Charlie extracted them, his hands trembling with a mix of fury and awe. Each time she came back broken, he patched her up, and each time she flew again, carrying secrets that could turn the tide of battles. In 1942, the Luftwaffe bombed Exeter, targeting the city in a series of raids that left Charlie's neighborhood in flames. The loft took a hit, and many of Charlie's pigeons perished. Mary, though, emerged from the rubble, shaken but alive. Charlie found brushstroke faunt her amid the wreckage, her feathers dusted with ash. "You're indestructible, aren't you?" he said, half laughing, half sobbing. Her final mission came in 1944. Mary returned with shrapnel in her neck, the injury so severe that Charlie knew her flying days were over. He crafted another collar, this one sturdier, and retired her from service. "You've done enough," he told her, setting her in a cozy corner of the loft with a dish of water and her favorite peanuts. For the rest of the war, she was his companion, a quiet presence as he worked below, stitching boots and dreaming of peace. In November 1945, Mary was awarded the Dickin Medal, the Animal VC, for her endurance despite wounds. Charlie accepted it on her behalf, his chest swelling with pride as he pinned the bronze medallion to a small display in his workshop. "That's my girl," he said to anyone who'd listen, though he'd choke up every time he tried to tell her story. Mary lived out her days in the loft, doted on by Charlie until she passed in 1950. He buried her in Ilford Animal Cemetery, alongside other heroes, and marked her grave with a simple stone, "Mary of Exeter, brave heart." Years later, Charlie's great-granddaughter, Liv Hooper, would tell Mary's story to her own children, holding the faded Dickin Medal in her hands. "She was just a pigeon," Liv would say, smiling, "but she had the soul of a lion." In Exeter, a blue plaque now stands at 6 West Street, honoring Charlie and Mary's partnership. A mosaic in a railway tunnel depicts her among 90 pigeons, a tribute to a city that remembers its smallest hero. And somewhere, in the vast sky of memory, Mary still flies, scarred, steadfast, and free.